What's up? It's been a few days. Got a little busy with personal life, and but I'm back for another video. So today is a video response to a very good comment by a fellow Chicago Booth alum. She said she made a very good point about democracy and its limitations, and we start talking about democracy in China. So I will tell you in this video why I don't think democracy is good for China and why I think that U.S. spread of democracy is in its own interest and not in China's interest. So to start this talk, I want to tell you what my political science professor told me in his first class. He opened the class by saying that all foreign policies are based on self-interest. So I didn't appreciate that lesson at that time. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm an idealistic young kid going to college and believe the world is, full of wonderful people who does things out of altruism, pure altruism. But today, I fully understand what he was trying to tell me in that very first lesson. Probably the most impressionable lesson I've had. All foreign policies are based on self-interest.
Let us sink in for a minute.
So let's look at U.S. foreign policy to China. U.S. traditionally have taken the position of human rights and spreading democracy to China. Now some of you are saying, well, that sounds like a great thing. Why not? Everyone should have their rights and so forth. Yes, but at what cost is the question. Now think about this. Before China was consolidated into an empire, it was very much like today's Middle East and Europe 200-300 years ago. It was divided, it was violent, it was constant warfare between different regions and different people, different group of people. Some of you might not know that, but there's actually over 50 ethnic groups in China. And even though 90% of people in China are of Han ethnicity, they're not all really Han in the same way. It's like the North, the South don't like each other. They disagree on a lot of issues. The East and West also have frictions. So there are a lot of regionalism. And within a short time, China could very likely descend into civil war, into domestic instability, and China will be in a terrible, terrible shape, just like Middle East is today. So the question is, when that happens, when democracy is given to China, who benefits? It's America, of course. I don't need to tell you today that who is the real challenge to America's hegemony across the globe, right? It's China. Who is projected to overtake the U.S.? It's China. Who is become more and more influential in all areas of global affairs over the U.S.? China. So U.S. spreading democracy is not in China's interest. It's in U.S. interest to retain power. And the reason why Chinese government has resist democracy, whether it's through Tiananmen Square incidents, or whether it's Hong Kong, whether it's all the Taiwan's independence, it's all for the very same reason. China cannot be a democratic society. It does not have the tradition of democracy. That's not how it resolve problems. China is this hugely competitive and could be potentially very violent part of the world if there's not a strong power in control of it all and keep everything in check. I'm not singing praises of a very authoritarian centralized government, but I'm telling you that at time in life it's necessary evil. Not all societies constructed based on Anglo-Saxon legal framework or a democratic framework. You really have to take in consideration the local people's history, culture, identity, way they solve problems. From the track record you've seen across Middle East, Latin America, Africa, America's spread of democracy has not worked out well in most cases. I don't think I can think of a single case today where America's forced democracy has done well for local population. It's not that the institution of democracy doesn't work. It's that sometimes the institution of democracy sometimes the institution of democracy does not work for specific countries, regions, people. And that is my talk today. It may not jive with your paradigm, but consider what I've said. Learn about other people's history, culture. Understand that we are all different. We all have our way of surviving and functioning in this world. No system is better than the other. And ultimately, we are all equal.